Hello and welcome to our webinar on the integration between Manage360 and design. In this webinar, we'll walk you through a process of generating a takeoff from a design and producing a plant picture catalog using your own custom plant images, starting from the setup to the finished product. First, I'll talk a little bit about how Manage360 and design synergize to not only save you time on quoting, but ensure that you're getting accurate quotes. The main benefit of using both products together is that you're able to label your drawings and design with actual items you sell instead of generic text labels, and then leverage those labels by sending your drawing into Manage360 to generate a quote. This is going to save you a ton of time on quoting. If you've labeled your drawing with specific plants, you'll be able to immediately generate a plant picture catalog out of Manage360 as well. This makes the entire package, drawing, quote, plant picture catalog, a really quick and efficient process. Furthermore, because you're able to use things like figure and cluster auto count or area measurement tools for labeling and design, all those measurements are going directly into Manage360 to ensure you aren't missing anything when you generate your quote. So just so you get an idea of what we're looking to accomplish in this webinar, I'll show you the finished results first. So here's a drawing that we're going to be using in a minute. And let me pull up the plant picture catalog. So we're going to generate one of these starting from a quote. And then I'll pull up this right here. So this is the quote we're going to generate. And it's all going to come straight from the drawing. We're going to get all of this just by adding our labels to our drawing. Okay, first we got to talk about setup though. So when you are working in Manage360, you have this thing called the Costbook. So the Costbook is for the purpose of actually labeling and design when you have both products linked. The Costbook is all of our labels, and they're going to be used for labeling the design, and then later they're going to be used for estimating. So these labels are actual items that you sell. They're coming from your vendors, right? And then they've got a cost associated with them. They've got size and everything associated with them. And the way that you get these into Manage360 is you can add them one by one right here when you hit new plant. And the most common way to get them in though is from a spreadsheet. So if you're able to get a spreadsheet from your vendor, you're able to actually take that, bring it into Manage360. And everything that you put on here is actually pretty important. So we don't recommend importing every single plant you could possibly ever sell or ever buy from all the vendors around you. We recommend actually starting a little smaller than that. Import just plants from your local vendors that you use often. Starting with a small plant list of maybe a couple hundred plants instead of 10,000 plants is going to be way easier in the long run because you can actually just add plants as you're going. If you're in the middle of an estimate or you're even in the middle of a drawing and you're missing something, you can just add that plant to Manage360 and then you're able to start using it immediately. If you've got a gigantic plant list, the reason that we don't recommend that is when next year rolls around and your vendors have updated their pricing, you're going to need to update this giant plant list with new prices. And we do kind of make that easy for you because you can see when the cost was last updated for something. So this, does give you a little hint that, oh, okay, this is a recent plant cost. So these ones I'd say, okay, well, this is recent, as of the date of this recording. So I don't need to update it. But these ones a little bit older. This price probably is not accurate anymore. So, anyways, you can import them via a spreadsheet or add them manually. And if you're wondering how to do this, I'm not going to go over the whole import process right now, but if you want to know, you can access our online knowledge base. So if you're actually in Manage360, you click on the little question mark right there. This takes you to the knowledge base, and then you can go somewhere like Getting Started and then Costbook, and then this is going to tell you all you need to know about building out the Costbook, how to actually run the import, all that important stuff. If you're actually going through an implementation right now, this is something that your implementer will go through with you in detail. They'll help you get your Costbook set up before you start estimating or before you start labeling your design. But if you have any questions, you can always just email us, support@dynascape.com, and then we're happy to answer your questions. All right, let's see here. So these plants that we have in our list. Uh, right now, because they have a cost, they have a vendor, we know what size they are. Right now, they're set up for estimating, but we want to make sure that they're also set up for a plant picture catalog because we want to get that out of this workflow as well. So you can see on the right-hand side, this little OPD column. OPD stands for the Online Plant Database. This little icon here means that it's not linked to the Online Plant Database. This is a little broken chain link. And these ones, this is a completed chain link icon. It means that they are linked to the OPD. So what is the OPD? So the Online Plant Database is Manage360's repository of plant information. This information is powered by Horticopia. So any plant that is linked to the OPD, we can see this right here. I'll just open up this HixU. If we go to the Culture tab, this one is linked to Horticopia. It's getting an image from Horticopia, and it's getting culture data from Horticopia. Now, if I want to unlink this, I can. If I want to find a different match because I'm looking for a specific type of HixU, then I can find a better match. Or if I don't want to use this photo, I can go to the Photos tab here, and I can upload my own. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Downloads. I got a HixU already ready for this. Okay, great. I'll remove the 1 from this name because I don't want it there. And then you add the file. And then now, this is going to be the plant image we use on the plant picture catalog. So basically, it'll use the culture image unless you have a plant photo here. This is configurable actually on the report parameters page, so you can tell it which sorts of pictures you want it to pull. But generally when you run the report, if you've got a custom plant image, the default setup is we'll use that image. And then this little leaf icon means it's the primary photo. So you can actually have lots of plant photos on here, but then we can set it up so that only the primary photo gets used on the plant picture catalog. So, and if you want to change the primary, you just add another image and then hit the checkbox for the new image that it's primary, hit the save button, and then now you got a new primary image. So pretty straightforward. Now, when you import your plant list for the first time, you're going to have, a few hundred, maybe even 1,000 or more plants, and they're not going to be linked to the OPD automatically. They'll come in, they'll all have this broken chain link icon. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is link them. And this is really, really easy to do. You just hit select all. And right now I've got this list filtered down to just a few plants that I'm using for my demo. But if I was looking at all my plants, I'd have a giant list of thousands. So you hit select all, and actually you're going to hit, let me unfilter this actually. So I've got a gigantic list of plants. I'm going to select all. You can see how big this list is. And then select all again. So the first time you hit it, it selects all 25 on the page. Now it selects the entire list. I'm going to go back to my vendor because I don't want to do this for the entire list that's already linked. Select all, and then you go common actions, match to OPD. So this process, really, really quick. You hit the start button. And then, yeah, right there, 4 of 4 unique plants were matched / updated. So what it will do, and then the page refreshed, what it will do is link anything that's not linked, or it'll update something if there's a better match for it. But yeah, now all of these, you can see they have the chain link icon. If I go into my purple Magnus, there we go. We've got a nice little photo there from Horticopia. So that's how quick and easy it is to match all your plants up. If you ever are looking for a match and it doesn't automatically match, then you can go here and you can search for the plant manually to find the one that you want. Okay, so now we've got our Costbook all set up. And before we jump into design, I'll mention one other thing, that we're not labeling just with plants. Plants are great because you're able to have a bunch of plant figures on your drawing. You're able to cluster them together and then label them as one giant cluster to get an auto count, and then the plant picture catalog. But there's all sorts of other stuff that we can label on our drawing: materials, equipment, kits. Typically, it's going to be materials and kits that you're using for labels. So I would say that plants, materials, kits, those are the three most important things to set up for this process. But within your kits, you might have equipment. You're probably going to have labor. So really, it all does come together. And this is, again, more of an advanced, deeper topic that I won't get too into right now. But all that stuff, getting started, Costbook, or talk to your implementer or reach out to support, that's where all of this stuff is going to be covered. But yeah, to talk quickly about materials, so this would be things like mulch, rocks, there are galvanized spikes, patio stone, pavers, anything that's not a plant is generally considered a material, with the exception of things like, of course, labor and equipment, right? Your truck is going to be under equipment. It wouldn't be under materials. And then kits are packages of all those other items grouped together and tied to a production rate. So we're going to use a paver kit today. I've got this one, paver patios and walkways. We're going to use this one today to label our drawing, and you can see that this one is set up with all sorts of different types of pavers. And the reason that there's so many, they all have this little lead item checkbox, is we're going to pick just one. So it's setting up this kit so that we've got a patio and walkway kit, and we're going to pick just one of these options. So we're just loading it with the options of pavers that we want. And it's got a production rate here, 1.1 square foot of pavers per square foot of kit, right? So this is where we define that stuff. If that's confusing, I don't want to go too into the weeds on it, but this is stuff that all gets explained in the initial setup. But then the kit contains all the other things like gravel, labor, excavated material, etc., etc. These are all of the things that group together and then tell you, oh, okay, well, here's my price per square foot, my cost per square foot, and price per square foot. If I'm using grass pave, right? And then per 500 square feet, here's my price. If I'm using Permacon Amalfi, right? That's a different paver with a different cost. So, the price goes up a little bit. That is what is going on there with kits. So the Costbook setup, again, super, super important because these are, again, our labels and design. And when we import them into Manage for our takeoff, this is feeding the quote. These are our costs, and then by extension, our prices that are going on the quote that we're sending to the customer and telling them to sign it. So that is the Manage360 portion of the setup. The design portion of the setup is really quick. What you need to do is just link design to your Manage Costbook. And you're going to do that here on the labeling tools. First, we have the Softscape labeling tool, which is this little flower icon. Then we have the Hardscape labels tool, which is this little pavers icon. So Softscape label is just all your plants, right? And what you're going to do here is you're going to open it up. You're going to go to Settings. And by default, your My Plants location is going to be local. But you're going to change it to Manage360. So you just hit the little radio button there, and then you hit the Change button. Once you hit Change, it's going to prompt you to fill in your website, your login email, and your login password. So the website, just like this, https:// and then your website name for Manage360, and then hit OK once you've got all that filled out. So you do that once for Softscape labeling, you link your site, and then you go over here to Hardscape labels, and you do the exact same thing. You go to Settings, change design label linking from None to Manage360, right? So do that. So what's the difference between these two tools? First of all, Softscape label all of your plants, and then Hardscape labels, this is everything else. So you can see this is corresponding to those other Costbook categories that we had back in Manage360, where we have kits, materials, labor, equipment, all that stuff. So those are our non-plant labels, essentially. All right, so link it to Manage360. So now we can start labeling. So I've got this list already filtered down to my vendor for those sample images, but we've got the search options here. So if you want advanced search options, it's this button right here. You click on that, and then it will let you search according to any of the plant properties like exposure, moisture, size, vendor, right? But if you don't want that, you can just search by name, right? So this is, if I was looking for an abelia, I'd type abelia in here, search for it. It's going to pull up all my abelias. All right, so let's actually start labeling. And I'm going to first label the Hicks U, and I'm going to use this auto count cluster tool. So this really saves you a lot of time. Instead of counting up all of my little shrub figures on the drawing one by one by one by one, I can use the auto count tool to just count them all up. And the one that I want to use here is auto count cluster. So if you've clustered your plants together, which we can see right here, these don't have interior geometry, so that's a big hint that they're clustered. Yeah, these 4 plants are all just tied together. They're all associated with each other. So if I go auto count cluster, right, have that selected and then hit go, I can click on that and then it counts it for me. So it knows, okay, we got 4 Hicks U's, and then I'm going to left click again to start drawing my leader, and right click, complete it, and now I've got my label, 4 Hicks U, right? Super, super easy. So let's add a couple of these other ones here. We'll do the Korean lilac auto count cluster go. We'll add it to these ones right here. We'll draw our label, try and line it up, right? We'll get this Chanticleer, the ornamental pear, and we'll click on the tree for that one. We'll drag our label over, get it nice and matched up. And then my cone flowers, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do this little, grouping right here. I'm going to drag it over, and there we go. Yeah, I've got a bunch of plants labeled now, so perfect. Let's also label some rocks, some hardscape, right? So we're going to go over here. First, I'm going to do this paver patio and walkway kit. So I just would go into here, search walkway, search for whatever kit I'm looking for, find it. It's going to search my list of kits in Manage360, and this is the one I want: paver patios and walkways. So you just pick, I'll just pick this one. Is this paver pattern? You pick the lead item, in this case the paver that we want to use. So that is what I was talking about earlier when we were looking at the kit and we saw all these items on the list. This is now telling us, or asking us, what paver type do you want? So we select that, and it is optional to select. So you either select it now as you're labeling your drawing, or when you import into Manage360, it's going to prompt you then to say, hey, what type of paver are we using for this kit? So I want to measure the interior, the area of this walkway right here. Right, any enclosed area in design, I can use that to I can measure and label it. So I'm going to use this tool, measure area by clicking inside. There's a bunch of them. I could draw a polygon and then take the area of that. I could select the boundary of something, but this is a nice enclosed area here, so I'm going to go click inside, and I'll hit go, and then I'll click on this, and you can see it highlights the area that I'm measuring here. So the boundaries are highlighted blue, and I could select a bunch of other enclosed areas right now if I wanted to, but instead I just want to do this one only. So I'm gonna right click to confirm, and you can see up here, select a location inside the area to be measured. The prompt line is always going to tell you in design what to do next. So I'm going to right click to confirm that this is the area that I'm measuring, and then I'm going to left click to start drawing my label. So left click, drag it over, and I'll right click to complete. And so there we go. I've got 70 square feet of Permacon Amalfi. Awesome. That label is done. So I'll do one other label. I'll go to materials. In this case, I want to do stepping stone. So this is actually, it remembers the last thing I searched, and I did this exercise before recording the video, so that's why stepping stone is already there. But to show you what it would look like by default, you know, it would either, by default, it's actually going to have nothing. You can also do like a blanket search for your whole cost book. So by having nothing selected, I just hit enter and this is my entire material list, but I want stepping stones. So I'm going to search for that. And for this one, I'm just going to label it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 rocks right here. We'll go 4, right? Insert. And I'm just going to drag it over here, line it up. And then there we go. We got our stepping stones. All right. So these are all the labels I'm going to do for the example. Now, if I wanted to, I could bring this into Manage360 right now, and it's going to group it on my estimate according to the types of labels these are. So this is all going to go under a softscape area, and this is all going to go under a hardscape area. You know, I probably don't want that. I don't think that makes sense for the customer, so I'm going to define my own groups right here in design in advance of bringing it over to Manage360. So to do that, I'm going to click on the color wheel icon right here. This is the quotation groups button. So quotation groups, within design, this just allows you to group labels together. That way I can export it as a material list or something, and then those materials are going to be grouped according to however I want to break it up. You know, the front walkway, front yard, backyard, garden bed, side of house, whatever sort of groups I want to use. I simply create those groups by hitting the add button, and then I type in the name that I want. So we'll do like, you know, side of house, and then I give it a color, right? So I can pick any of these colors, and then that's how you add a quotation group. We got these here now. If we have our labels assigned to quotation groups in design, and then we bring those labels into Manage360, it's going to become what we call in Manage work areas. So when we print out our proposal, it's going to be grouped according to work area. The customer is going to get a quote for their plant bed. They're going to get a quote for their front walkway as separate prices. So it'll say, you know, whatever, $2,000 for the plant bed, $3,000 for the front walkway, grand total for this proposal, $5,000, right? So anyway, we want to start labeling with these. So we pick the quotation group we want to use, and then we hit select, right? And then we can start drawing, or start selecting. So I'm going to select all these ones right here, all my plants. So I selected them, and then I right click. And then you see the color changes. This means that the quotation group was applied. For this one, front walkway, we'll move to that. I'm going to do these, and then now those are on the front walkway, right? And this is now ready to go, but I'll give you one additional tip before we bring it into Manage. These labels that we're adding right here, these are ones that I actually want to show in the drawing. When I have this printed out, I want to see these labels here. You know, the customer will see them, the builder will see them. But for the purpose of quoting, you can actually add labels here that are hidden. So if you put labels on your temp layer as you're labeling, depending on the mode that you're in or depending on what layers you're showing or hiding, usually the temp layer is hidden. If you're in design mode, design no shadow mode, the temp layer is not on. So all those labels are going to be hidden, but they're still there. So you can label stuff for the purpose of quoting, for generating a material list, etc. You can have labels on your drawing, but they're hidden so that you print it out, nobody needs to see them, but you're able to actually still quote based on that stuff that's on there. Another way to do it, instead of using the hidden layer, go outside your drawing boundaries, and you can just start dropping labels into space over here. Because that's not in the printed area, nobody's going to see them when you print the drawing, so you can do that, but it'll still go into Manage just fine if you have labels way out here in space. So that's how you label with stuff that you don't want other people to see on the drawing. All right, so this now is ready to go into Manage, and what I'm going to do to start that process is I'm going to export this as a DMX file, a Dynascape Manage export file. This is how we get it into Manage. We go File, Export, and then you click Landscape Manage Export File. So I already have one right here, webinar takeoff. So I'll just, webinar takeoff 2, right? I'm going to save that. And now I've got my DMX file. So let's go into Manage360. And I've already got an estimate set up here. So if you've used Manage360 before, you probably know how to create an estimate. That's not today's topic, but suffice to say, we make it for a customer. So this one's for our First Street Properties customer. And this estimate right now is empty. It doesn't need to be empty in order to import from design, but generally when you're doing a takeoff, the design is the thing you're starting from. So that's how we're going to do it here. To import it, I go Actions, Import, and then it brings up this little thing that's going to prompt me to browse my computer for a file. So we'll do Webinar Takeoff 2, Upload, and then it gives us a confirmation screen. So this screen, this is where we can change the lead item. And all these things that aren't actually in kits, we can say create kit. This is an advanced Manage360 thing. Generally, you're going to always leave this as no kit. But depending on how you want to have your labels appear on your proposal, you might use create kit. Again, that's an advanced topic. Just 99.99% of the time, leave it as no kit. So we confirm this, unselect anything that we have on there by accident, and then submit. And there we go. So there's our quotation groups now defined as work areas on our estimate. And then here's our kit, right? So we added only a handful of labels, right? We've got our stepping stones, we've got a couple plants, but you can see that because Manage360 has all these associations with items, we have production rates for our plants. So these plants are automatically bringing around about 2 hours of labor, to plant them all. We got the stepping stones right here, and then our kit is full of all those other items we talked about earlier, right? We've got our Amalfi pavers, but we've got fabric, gravel, sand, our labor to do all the pavers. So this saves us a ton of time. We just import the drawing, and then here we go. So at this point, you can continue to refine the estimate. You change the quantities of stuff. You add other items here. If you're ready to go, though, you can jump into the proposal right away. Before we do that, I'll show you one cool thing that Manage does, general conditions. So here, you can have this set up, and this is, again, talk to your implementer or go into the help if you want to learn more about it. But a quick little overview, general conditions are a way for you to automatically bring certain items into the estimate based on what's actually on the estimate. So we can have these things here like cleanup, load and unload, travel time. Manage is going to try and calculate for you how long this job is going to take. And then based on how many days it thinks that job's going to take, it then multiplies the per day rate by the number of days and the crew size to give us, okay, well, here's how much cleanup time we need. Here's how much load and unload time we need. That's what's happening here. So I'll just hit update estimate, and you can see general conditions are applied. So this is a really, really awesome way to get everything together. If you are an expert at labeling your design and you're using all of those little tips like using the temp layer or adding labels outside the drawing boundaries, you can have a takeoff that's pretty much complete just from the design labels, and then you apply your general conditions, and then you've got a quote. At that point, there's not too much else to do except view the proposal, right? So to view the proposal, you go Actions, View Proposal, like I just did there. And then you select your layout template, right? So we're able to define what actually is going on here. You can have different layouts for not showing plants and materials, for showing a plant list, for showing only a material list, something like that. And then once you're ready, you hit View Proposal, and then that generates the Word document. That generates the proposal. So this is what we get out of Manage360, this is our proposal. So we got here our front walkway, right? We got the description of that coming from the kit. We got our front walkway total. And we got our plant bed work area, all the plants that we added, grand total, right? So just by importing the drawing into Manage, we're able to generate this right away. Really, really cool. So I'll show you one more thing that you can do because we've imported the drawing. We can generate a plant picture catalog. So that's the reason that we were linking all those plants and uploading our custom images earlier. We go Actions, Reports, and then we find the plant picture catalog report. And then once the report parameters load, you're able to run the report. So there's a bunch of different report parameters here that you can use to filter down exactly what plants you want to see or how you want that information displayed. But if we're ready, we go export as a PDF. We get it. There we go, right? We got our PDF. There's our plant picture catalog. All right, we got the pear, the lilac, the coneflower, the hicks. This one was our custom image. And that's it. That's plant picture catalog. So all that just coming from our design labels. Really, really, really cool. So if you like this workflow and you want to experience it for yourself, we're actually running a sale right now. So from today, the 18th, until December 2nd, we are running 30% off most of our software. That includes training as well. And we have a special bundle for design plus Manage360. So check that out. If you want any information, you can contact our sales team at sales@dynascape.com, or you can go to our website, dynascape.com, hit the contact us button, and reach out there. So yeah, be sure to check that out because this sale is a limited time only. All right. Hope you enjoyed that webinar. Have a great day.